Today's lecture's key takeaway: the Cambrian explosion did not happen. What is the Cambrian, you might ask? It is a period. Not an eon, not an era, not an epoch. A period. Not that kind of period. Not that one. That one. To understand the Cambrian explosion, we must know these two periods: Ediacaran and Cambrian. This one came first, obviously. Why? Because E comes before C. During this geological period that occurred 635 to 538 Mayas ago, organisms were simple. They were soft-bodied, no skeleton calcium rock bones, too complicated. Just cartilage, more easy, squishy, wobbly. Repeating segments, easy. Shaped, tubular, and sessile. And yummy. Another thing, they had radial symmetry, symmetry around a central point. Isn't that circular symmetry? No, this is circular symmetry. Also, they had no sensory capacity. What is sensory capacity? That brings us to the Cambrian period. Transitioning from this period to this period, scientists hypothesized the Cambrian explosion, like a diversity explosion, like BAM! Wait, like BAM! No, like BAM! Because, oh snap, look, all of these fossils from the same time appeared out of nowhere, I guess. Wowza! But thanks to the meta-analysis study, which is like where they yoink all these many studies, the Cambridge explosion wasn't really that probable. There was no BAM! It was probably like little bits and boops gradually along the period of time. But let's talk about the carriage era. Okay, so things start becoming not so simple. It gives the rise to multicellular animals. I'm sorry, metazoans. They get things like sensory capacity, like recognition to light stimuli and movement. We got bilateral symmetry, a front and a behind. We got bilateral symmetry and a front and a behind. And now we got rock solid calcium milk bones, but not as yummy looking creatures. Oh, it's okay, little one. I guess you still look edible. It's okay. I would still eat you. Okay, quick recap. Ediacaran, soft-bodied, radial symmetry, tubular and sessile. Cambrian, harder-bodied, sensory capacity, and bilateral symmetry. And of course, most importantly, the Cambrian explosion did not happen. Lecture reflection. I think the most important takeaway from today's lecture was the fact that the Cambrian explosion likely did not happen, but instead many diversification events gradually took place over a long period of time. The main points of the lecture were key developments that occurred after last unit, comparing the Ediacaran period to the Cambrian period. During Ediacaran, we had squishy, wobbly creatures with no mineral calcium bones with radial symmetry that were smart but a bit dumb, with the lack of sensory capacity. The Cambrian period gave rise to bilateral, symmetrical, hard-bodied creatures that were at least capable of light stimuli recognition. These were quote-unquote animals, or metazoans. One thing I learned was that if not for funny scientists, I would never have learned about the animal Icarus. I experienced lighthearted emotions as a result of attending today's lecture because I thought the mental image of wobbly creatures were funny. This is memorable, which means it is easy to recall, so good for me. I was a 3 on the stress scale prior to today's lecture. I said that the most important takeaway was the Cambrian explosion. Why didn't I talk about it much in this reflection? Simple, because it didn't happen.